3 months after a young woman rescued a kitten with enormous ears, she received an incredible surprise that left her stunned. Sarah, a young copywriter, was walking home deep in thought one evening. She was wrestling with a difficult work assignment when something made her stop suddenly. A meowing sound was coming from a dark alley she had just passed. But this wasn't an ordinary meow. It sounded like a kitten was crying for help. As an animal lover who already had 2 rescue dogs at home, Sarah felt compelled to find the kitten and see if she could help. The worried woman turned back to search for the kitten, but pinpointing where the crying was coming from proved difficult. Sarah began looking behind garbage bins and wooden boxes in the alley, but found nothing. She kept following the meowing sound, which led her deeper into the alley. At the far end, she spotted the back door of an abandoned laundromat. The crying grew louder as she approached the door, though she still couldn't see the kitten anywhere. After hesitating briefly, Sarah gathered her courage and entered the abandoned building. She couldn't bear the thought of leaving the kitten behind. She had done this countless times before, rescuing stray animals in even worse locations. She had saved pigeons, squirrels, dogs, and cats, always taking them to the shelter. But something felt different this time. Something seemed off. As she entered the building and followed the meowing, her thoughts wandered. Lately, she wasn't sure she could trust her own emotions. A second promotion was approaching at work, and she should have felt excited about this achievement. She didn't, though. Recently, Sarah had been feeling incredibly lonely despite having her 2 dogs for company. She sensed something was missing from her life. At 37 years old, not having a family of her own felt more noticeable than ever. After rescuing her dogs who were like children to her, she had told herself she would stop rescuing strays and focus more on meeting people. Yet here she was again. Who am I fooling? She thought while holding up her phone for light. Mothers and wives don't wander down dark alleys to rescue helpless kittens, she whispered to herself. The sound appeared to be coming from the far, right corner of the dark room. Shining her phone's light in that direction, she found a large metal box mounted on the wall. It was an electrical panel. She immediately rushed over to investigate. Looking into the box, she discovered the source of the heartbreaking meowing. A frightened, tiny kitten was shaking violently, tangled in a maze of electrical wires. Looking more closely, she noticed something very unusual about the kitten. It had a small head and body, but its ears were massive. The kitten's odd-looking ears reminded Sarah of a bat. She knew she had to get it out of the electrical box immediately. The concerned woman quickly realized it would be too risky for her to rescue the kitten alone, so she decided to call for help. Sarah told the 911 operator about the tiny kitten with giant ears trapped in the electrical box and was informed that the fire department was coming. While waiting for help, Sarah stayed near the electrical box and spoke gently, trying to calm the small creature. She managed to slip a finger into the box to pet the kitten, which seemed to help temporarily. The fire department arrived soon after, though it felt much longer to Sarah. She worried that the kitten might get more entangled in the wires before help came. Hearing the fire truck siren approaching, she breathed a sigh of relief. She stepped back so the firefighters could work, but remained close by. The kitten was freed within minutes, and the firefighter who pulled him out told Sarah it was a male and handed him to her. Concerned about the cat, she wrapped him in her jacket to keep him warm. She looked down at the tiny, big-eared, trembling kitten and wondered how he had ended up there. The firefighters were making jokes about the kitten's unusual ears, but this unique feature made Sarah fall in love with the animal. The firefighter asked if she wanted to keep him, explaining that if not, they would take him to the shelter. Normally, she would give rescued animals to the shelter. The only animals she had ever brought home were her 2 dogs. She couldn't bear the thought of them being separated since she had found them together, which would likely have happened at the shelter. But for some reason, without thinking it through, this time was different. Sarah felt a strong desire for the kitten to become part of her family. She decided to adopt him right there on the spot. "I'll take him," Sarah said firmly to the firefighter. "He's coming home with me." After giving some information to the firefighters, they left, and she continued walking home with her new companion. She felt good about her decision. Briefly, then Sarah panicked. She hadn't thought things through, and two problems would make caring for the kitten challenging. The kitten appeared to be about a week old, and his new caretaker realized he couldn't eat on his own. He would normally depend on his mother's milk for at least 6 to 8 weeks, and since the mother was nowhere to be found, it was up to Sarah to feed the kitten herself. She was ready for that second promotion, but would only receive it after completing one major project. Sarah would need to feed the kitten with a syringe every 3 to 4 hours, which would be demanding for the young, ambitious copywriter. Time was not on her side. She wasn't sure how she would balance her work and caring for a newborn cat. The second problem was her dogs. Sarah had a beagle named Max and a Jack Russell Terrier named Jake, and she worried about how they would react to the kitten. The rest of the walk home was incredibly stressful, and she felt completely overwhelmed. She felt she had gotten in over her head. But when she reached her front door, Sarah realized it was too late to change her mind. It was already very late, and no animal shelters were open at this hour. Anxiously, Sarah climbed the stairs to her front door, concerned about how Max and Jake would behave around the kitten. Her plan was to quickly get the kitten upstairs to her bedroom so they wouldn't notice their new family member. Unfortunately, the dogs immediately detected the kitten's scent and started jumping and barking. Sarah ran upstairs to put the cat in her room where he would be safe, then went to the pet store to buy supplies for the kitten. The pet store staff helped find everything the young cat would need and gave Sarah a care and feeding guide. Sarah planned to set up a bed in her room for the kitten to keep him away from the dogs until he was larger, preventing any injuries. The dogs were always at the door, waiting for Sarah to come home. But when she returned from the pet store, the dogs were nowhere to be seen. The terrified woman ran upstairs, worried the dogs had gotten into her room and endangered the kitten. When she reached the top of the stairs and looked into her room, Sarah was shocked. Max and Jake had gotten into her room and were sleeping on the bed with the tiny kitten nestled between them. She almost screamed in horror, but then she realized something. Before we continue with the story, we kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It really helps us out. Thank you so much. The small cat was still breathing and peacefully sleeping between Max and Jake. Their warm bodies provided comfort for the tiny cat. She stopped panicking when she saw the kitten was safe. In fact, she was quite amazed by her dog's behavior. With one problem solved, she went downstairs to read the guide and prepare the first feeding when she heard something from the living room. She saw Jake carrying the kitten by the scruff of its neck like a mother cat would, and Sarah was amazed again. Did her dogs think the kitten was their baby? Sarah took the kitten from Jake, sat down, and fed him for the first time. While watching the kitten drink the formula, she named him Luna after Tom Hanks, the actor with the big ears. "There you go, little Luna," she said softly as he drank. "You're safe now." Sarah sat at her computer to research what breed he was online. She had never seen a cat with such large ears and was certain he wasn't a typical house cat. It didn't take long to discover that Luna was an Oriental Shorthair, an expensive breed that made her curious about where he came from. During the first weeks, Sarah spent all her free time caring for the kitten. It was stressful managing kitten care while meeting her project deadline, but with careful planning and sacrifice, she managed both. She became amazed by Luna's behavior. He spent his days following Max and Jake around the house, seemingly believing he was one of them. At night, Luna would curl up with one of the dogs in their crates while they watched over him protectively. With her time devoted to caring for these 3 animals, Sarah no longer worried about her longing to start a family. These animals had become her family, and she was happy. Seeing their special bond, Sarah created a social media page for her 3 pets. Her followers loved reading about Luna's rescue story and watching his incredible bond with his canine brothers. The page gained followers daily as people were fascinated by the tiny, big-eared kitten who thought he was a dog. As Luna grew, so did his desire to be one of the dogs. When Sarah took Max and Jake for walks, Luna sat by the door until they returned. Soon he started meowing intensely each time she prepared for walks, and she could hear him crying loudly as she walked down the street. Eventually, Sarah had a crazy idea to help Luna feel more included. Sarah came up with an idea. She would take the kitten on walks too. Their first outing was a success. Luna was mesmerized by the new sights, sounds, and smells. Sarah did get some odd looks from neighbors, but she didn't care. Her 3 pets were happy, and that was all that mattered. "Come on, Luna," she smiled. "You're one of the pack now." The dogs didn't just accept Luna. They protected her. One afternoon at the park, a man Sarah didn't recognize approached them. Max and Jake instantly became alert and barked at him. "That's quite a unique cat you have there," the man said, eyeing Luna. Sarah felt uneasy. She had noticed this man at the dog park before, always alone and without a pet. He asked several questions about Luna and claimed he owned a few Oriental short-hair cats himself. Then he asked if Sarah wanted to sell her. She stiffened. "He's not for sale," she said firmly. Without giving the man any more information, she walked away with the dogs and Luna. That night, Sarah left a few windows open to let in the cool air. Luna tried pawing at the screen, eager to explore. The dogs started barking furiously, waking Sarah. She rushed downstairs to find Luna clawing at the window screen and Max and Jake barking intensely. As Sarah scooped Luna up and closed the window, she froze. Someone was standing in her yard. She quickly shut the curtains. The figure didn't try anything, but the experience deeply unsettled her. Thankfully, her dogs were alert and protective. A few days passed, and Sarah tried to forget the eerie incident. She focused on work and continued documenting Luna's bond with Max and Jake. Her friends and co-workers were skeptical until she began showing them photos and videos. Luna had been with her for 3 months and life seemed perfect. That changed during Luna's first visit to the vet. The receptionist handed Sarah a form to complete. Luna was being weighed when the vet walked in. "Look at those ears," he said with a chuckle. As he examined Luna, Sarah noticed his expression shift. A chill ran through her. Was something wrong? Did Luna have a health issue? But what the vet said shocked her in a different way. "Has anyone confirmed this kitten's gender?" he asked. "The firefighter who gave him to me said he was a boy," Sarah replied. The vet smiled. "Well, the firefighter was mistaken. Luna is actually a girl." Sarah was stunned. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Absolutely," the vet confirmed. Sarah stood speechless. She had spent months thinking her kitten was a boy. She considered changing Luna's name but decided to keep it. When they got home, Luna curled up with her dog brothers and Sarah snapped a photo to share online. Her followers were delighted by the update and flooded the post with likes and comments. She loved looking back at Luna's early photos. That tiny, strange-looking kitten had grown so much. Sarah had shared nearly everything about Luna's life, but there was one piece missing. How had Luna ended up in that electrical box? Then Sarah remembered the strange man at the park and the incident at the window. Could they be connected? She decided to visit the fire station. She brought a thank you basket and a few photos of Luna to show how well the kitten was doing. While chatting with the firefighters, she asked if they'd learned anything else about Luna's rescue. Their answer shocked her. Just a day after Luna was saved, another kitten had been found in the same alley. That kitten had also been taken to a shelter, and the staff mentioned something odd. It was the second Oriental short-hair they'd seen that week. Even stranger, a man had come in asking about the kittens. He claimed they were his but had no paperwork, not even proof the cats had a mother. The shelter staff had seen this behavior before. They suspected the man was an illegal breeder who had dumped the kittens temporarily to avoid getting caught. Sarah's eyes widened. "Do you have a picture of the man?" she asked. One of the firefighters pulled out his phone and showed her an image captured on the shelter's security camera. Sarah gasped. "That's him. That's the creepy guy from the park." She told them about her experience and the strange figure outside her house. The firefighters promised to report the information to animal control. About a week later, while Sarah was watching the news, she saw the man had been caught. He was arrested for illegal breeding and animal mistreatment. As Sarah updated Luna's story online, She included a photo of Luna in the arms of the firefighters, who had saved her. As Luna slept curled up in her lap, Sarah gently stroked her oversized ears. Life with Luna had been full of surprises, effort, and joy. That strange-looking kitten had brought something beautiful into Sarah's life: love, purpose, and family. Despite not having children or a husband, Sarah no longer felt anything was missing. Luna, Max, and Jake were her family. Did you enjoy this story? Have you ever rescued an animal, or has one ever rescued you? Let us know in the comments. If you like this story, please subscribe and give it a like. Sometimes the family we need finds us in the most unexpected ways. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video. Have a great day.